Hi, my name is Joe. Welcome to another episode. As you might know, Cylindrica plants has very many names, so it's very confusing sometimes. So I wanted to make that straight in this video by introducing some of my plants and talking about some interesting facts about them. Okay, let's start with my very first Sansevieria collection. This plant is called Sansevieria cylindrica, and the variety name is also Cylindrica. So you will often see in the internet as written as Sansevieria cylindrica var dat cylindrica. So this is that plant. And the official name of this plant from 2017 now is called Dracaena angolensis. So the official name has changed, but many people still call this as Sansevieria cylindrica. And you might also know this plant as Sansevieria cylindrica skyline, but that name is it's not a valid cultivar name. It's just a marketing name that was used in the US around 2005. So keep that in mind, that skyline is not a cultivar name. And it will never be a cultivar name because it's the same plant. It's not, the skyline plant is nothing different from the cylindrica plant. So yeah, just keep that in mind. So this plant grows up to 7 feet actually. Mine is around about 3 feet. I did cut the leaf, so it used to be 4 feet. And when I acquired this plant in 2018, it was already a mature plant. And it didn't grow, but it focused on making offsets. And I have a new baby Cylindrica coming out there. I just want to give one tip. If you have this plant, don't put it in this kind of pot where the edge goes inwards like this. The baby pup there will bump his or her head on this edge and the shape will get distorted a little bit. So yeah, I recommend using some different kind of pot. And I have, over the years, I have several Cylindrica that came from this plant. This is also a Cylindrica. And interesting thing is, as I mentioned before, I did cut the leaf here and I did propagate it from the leaf. And if you propagate this plant from a leaf, you'll get a different variety. This is the plant that I got from the leaf cutting, and the name of this plant is Sansevieria cylindrica Patula. So that is very interesting. Over the years, I thought I was very confused. The shape was a little bit different from the mother plant. Patula has leaf kind of going downwards. I'll show a different Patula that I have in my room. But over the years, the leaf will go like this. And it has some kind of, to me it looks like the seagull, the bird. It reminds me of a seagull, but yeah, it's very different from the mother plant, so I was very confused. So this Cylindrica plant should be a crossing between Patula and some different Sansevieria. So that's very interesting. Just like moonshine, as you might know, this plant is, on the left is moonshine, and if you do a leaf cutting, a propagation based on leaf cutting, you will get a different pattern of leaves. So yeah, that's very interesting. It has a similar characteristics as moonshine. So these two, if you do cuttings by leaf, you'll get a different plant. So that is interesting. I'll show you my propagation station. So this is my Sansevieria propagation station. I also call it Sansevieria factory. I put the ugly ones, or the ones that I don't really need in my room, I just put it here in this pot. It's a mix of Sansevieria cylindrica and bacularis. So this one is bacularis, and this leaf is actually the one that I cut from the tall one that I showed earlier. So this plant will produce a fan-shaped baby plant like this, which is a fan shape, and the variety name is Patula. It doesn't produces the same cylindrical form that I showed earlier. So that is very interesting. Over the years I was very confused. I did some research, and yeah, that was what was happening. You can't get the original mother plant shape from the leaf cuttings. So it's one interesting fact to know. And this is my other Sansevieria cylindrica Patula. It also came from the leaf cutting of that tall cylindrical plant. And as you can see, the Patula, the leaves of the Patula goes downwards like this, below the soil level of the pot. That is one interesting feature of Patula. I was growing this plant for about 2-3 years now, and it's about 2 feet high. Yes, I had to put it on the top shelf like that. Here is another cylindrical plant. This plant is actually made by me. I did a leaf cutting and put 3 spears in this little pot here. So if you have something like this, it's just a leaf cutting from either cylindrica or the Patula plant. Let me show you. I actually cut it from this plant here, here and there. You can easily get some brown spot. It's not easy to have a perfect cylindrical plant, and when I see brown spots, I cut it, and I used the perfect ones and put it in a small pot like that. Yeah, so the plant behind, the two behind here is from directly from the tall cylindrical plant I showed you earlier, and the two plant here on the front are from the leaf cutting. So you can obviously see that the shape is a little bit different. They are all fan shaped, but the tall ones there, they have an upright shape, and the Patula has, as I mentioned before, it has a kind of downward shape there. So that's the difference when you do propagation. Even though it came from the same mother plant, the shapes are different like this. So it's very interesting. Okay, now let's talk about the popular starfish plant. This plant is called the Sansevieria Cylindrica Patula Boncel. Boncel means dwarf in Indonesia, and as it is in the name, this plant actually started from the seed of Patula in Indonesia around 2010. So it's relatively new a plant. It's only been like 12 years since the journal paper was published. So there is a paper that says that the author assumes that there has been a natural crossing between the Patula plant and a different kind of Sansevieria. The friend of the author planted thousands of different Sansevieria, such as Cylindrica, Patula, and Boncel sensation, and some others. And one day, one of the seed from Patula produced the Boncel plant. So it's very interesting. The author assumes this is a natural crossing because if you do propagation from leaf cutting, it will give the same form of Boncel plant. So there has been a natural crossing between Patula and some other Sansevieria plant. So that's one interesting fact to know. So this plant is also related to Patula. Okay, so this will be the last plant I'll talk in this video. It's actually a hybrid Sansevieria between Sansevieria cylindrica Patula and Balii. So I do have several different Balii plant, and I'm really a fan of Balii species. And this is actually very interesting to see. It's quite big, and it also has stolons that's similar to the Balii species, but the color of the leaf comes from the Cylindrica Patula. So very fascinating plant. Also, the name of this plant is Fenomenal. Okay. Thanks for watching today. Have a good night or day. See you next time. Bye bye.